So in today's class, we discuss about fan-in of CMOS. So that is CMOS NAND gate or NOR gate, how many inputs are applied. So already you know the definition of fan-in. What is fan-in? At the first classes, I give the characteristics of all characteristics of logic families. In that characteristics, I mentioned fan-in, fan-out, power consumption, operating speed, like that. What is fan-in? The number of inputs that a gate can drive, the number of inputs that a gate can have in a particular logic family is called the fan-in. So that is, suppose if we consider this NAND gate. For this NAND gate, how many inputs are connected here? 4 number of inputs. That is, fan-in for that NAND gate is considered as 4. Here we consider a NAND gate. For this NAND gate, we have 4 number of inputs. So for this NAND gate, the 4 number of inputs is considered as fan-in. So that is what is fan-in, the number of inputs that a gate can handle without disturbing its output voltage level is called fan-in. So fan-in is always considered at the input side. Fan-in is always considered at the input side. But fan-out is always considered at the output side. That is, the number of inputs handled at the output is mentioned as fan-out. So now our topic is fan-in. So that is with fan-in, what is fan-in? The number of inputs that a gate can have in a particular logic family is called logic family's fan-in. So I think you understand that definition. Suppose if we construct a CMOS logic for NAND gate, if we construct a NAND logic with the help of CMOS, already you studied this circuit. The 3 PMOS transistors are parallel transistors and 3 NMOS transistors are series transistors. So already you know this circuit. Then how many inputs are connected at this place? 3 inputs are connected. If we got 4 number of fan-in, then how many PMOS and NMOS transistors are required? To got 4 number of fan-in, how many PMOS and NMOS transistors are required? We must require 4 PMOS and 4 NMOS transistors are required. Suppose if we want 5 fan-in, that is 5 number of inputs, then we require 5 number of PMOS and 5 number of NMOS. To form a NAND logic, always PMOS transistors are connected in parallel. That is, those are connected to VDD, and NMOS transistors are connected in series. Those are connected to ground. Those are connected to ground. So that is, with the help of CMOS, we form a NAND or NOR logics with a large number of inputs. మనకి ఎన్ని number of inputs కావాలంటే అన్ని number of inputs వరకు. ఎన్ని number of అంటే here also we have some specification. That is, here also we have some limit. So maximum fan-in is 4 for NOR. So for NOR logic, we have 4 fan-in. So that is, up to 4 fan-in, we can easily construct the circuit with the help of CMOS. And for NAND logic, we have 6 fan-in. That is, for 6 number of inputs, we easily connect the circuit with the help of CMOS. But to got, if we want to construct the NAND gate for 7 number of fan-in, then what is the situation? How we connect that circuit? సో టోటల్గా ఇక్కడ మనం చెప్పుకునేది ఏంటంటే వీ హ్యావ్ సమ్ లిమిట్ టు దట్ fan-in ఆల్సో. ఫర్ CMOS, టు ప్రొవైడ్ NOR లాజిక్ అప్ టు 4 we directly connect. For NAND logic, up to 6 we directly connect. But if we want to get 7 or 5 like that, then we connect a cascading of NAND gates. So see this diagram, we connect a cascading of NAND. So suppose first of all you take first gate. So at the first gate we have 4 number of inputs. So at this point we have a output of ABCD bar. Here our aim is to construct a NAND logic for 7 input. So that is, here we have at the first gate we have 4 number of inputs. So at this output we have ABCD bar. After the inverter we have ABCD. Now For this NAND gate, suppose A, B, C, D, E, F, G, another 3 inputs are added here. So totally here we have A, B, C, D input and E, F, G. So totally at the output we got A, B, C, D, E, F, G whole bar. So totally how many inputs it takes? Totally here 4 inputs and here 3 inputs. Totally it acts as a 7 input NAND gate. So to form a 7 input NAND gate or 6 input NAND gate, we cannot directly connect it to the single NAND gate. So we form with the cascading of NAND gate. Up to how many number it is possible? For 6. NAND up to 6 we directly connect. And for NOR up to 4 we directly connect. So therefore we call it as a maximum fan in. So that is maximum fan in for NOR gate is 4 and maximum fan in for NAND gate is 6. I think you understand this point. So what is meant by fan in? Fan in is number of inputs that the gate can have in a particular logic family. Is called logic family's fan in. So with the help of CMOS, you already design a NAND and a NOR logics. So totally in practice, additive on resistance of series transistors limits the fan in. Why here we have limitation in the number of fan in? Here, suppose if we want to construct five number of fan in, then automatically here we require series transistors and parallel transistors here. So totally, if we connect a series transistors here, automatically the resistance value is increases. The resistance value is increases and the circuit operation is becomes disturbing. So totally here we have some limitation. Without disturbing the circuit operation, we construct only 4 for NAND, NOR and 6 for NAND is possible. 6 for NAND is possible. So this is fan in. So if we want to connect more number of inputs, then automatically we connect a cascading of NAND gates. Cascading of NAND gates. That is fan in. So after that, what is the topic? Fan out. So what is fan out? You already know the definition. Suppose if we have a interfacing of circuit, that is our CMOS circuit is connected to TTL circuit. That is output of CMOS is connected to input of TTL circuit. Then we call it as interfacing. What is fan out? The fan out of a gate is the number of inputs that the gate can drive without exceeding its worst case loading specifications. What is meant by worst case loading specifications? Suppose our CMOS logic output is generated as 4.3 volts. So our CMOS logic output voltage is mentioned as 4.3 volts. Without deviating that 4.3 volts output voltage, how many number of inputs, that is for other circuit, how many number of inputs are given? So that is TTL. In our example, we consider CMOS as main logic. At the output of CMOS, we connect another TTL circuit. You already know TTL circuit. At the TTL input, we have number of inputs. At the TTL input, we have a multi-emitter transistor. For the multi-emitter transistor, we connect a number of inputs. Already in PDC you studied. So at that place you studied 2 input TTL logic. That is in multi-emitter transistor you consider 2 inputs, that is A and B. If we want to construct a 3 input NAND gate, then we place multi-emitter transistor with the number of inputs A, B, C. So that is our TTL. How many inputs are there here? 2 inputs. So that is, if a CMOS output is connected to TTL input, then our TTL circuit suppose have 2 number of inputs, then what is the fan out of our CMOS? 2. అంటే టోటల్గా మనకి అవుట్పుట్లో ఎన్ని నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ అనదర్ సర్క్యూట్ ఇన్పుట్స్ని ఇది హ్యాండిల్ చేయగలదు అనేది తీసుకుంటే మనం దాన్ని ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ అని అంటాం. CMOS అవుట్పుట్ని తీసుకొచ్చి TTLకి అప్లై చేసినప్పుడు ఎన్ని నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్పుట్స్ని అవుట్పుట్ వోల్టేజ్ వేరీ అవ్వకుండా హ్యాండిల్ చేయగలదు అనేది తీసుకుంటే మనం దాన్ని ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ అని అంటాము. సో దట్ ఈస్ వితౌట్ డిస్టర్బింగ్ ద worst case loading specifications. What is loading? Our CMOS, the output is the circuit which is connected. Whatever the circuit is connected is considered as load. So that is without disturbing the loading specifications, how many inputs are driven to the original circuit is considered as fan out. So already నేను ఈ డెఫినేషన్స్ అన్ని కూడా ప్రీవియస్ క్లాస్లో చెప్పానమ్మా నేను. సో టోటల్గా మనం డీసీ ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ అంటే ఏంటి, వాట్ ఈస్ హౌ వీ స్టడీ డీసీ ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్. Why here we study DC fan out? Here our behavior is steady state electrical characteristics. So in steady state electrical characteristics we study about DC fan out, and in dynamic state electrical behavior we study about AC fan out. So before going to discussion of DC fan out and AC fan out, you must know what is fan out. I think you understand now. Fan out. Fan out is always connected number of inputs which are driven by the circuit, without disturbing the output loading specifications is considered as fan out. So in our example, if CMOS is output is directly connected to TTL input, suppose TTL input have 2 number of inputs, then the fan out for our CMOS is considered as 2. Suppose if we connect 3 number of inputs at the TTL, but our CMOS output load specification is varied. That is previously it is 4.3 volts, then it changes to 5 volts. Then the circuit does not handle that TTL. So totally fan out of our circuit is 2. ఎంతవరకు మనకు అది కరెక్ట్గా హ్యాండిల్ చేయగలుగుతుంది, 2 నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్పుట్స్ వరకే హ్యాండిల్ చేయగలుగుతుంది. సో టోటల్గా అప్పుడు ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ సర్క్యూట్ ఏం చెప్తాం మనము, 2 అని చెప్తాం. ఆర్ యు గాట్ ఇట్? సో టోటల్లీ which parameters, on which parameters the fan out is dependence. So in previously the fan in is dependent on one parameter, that is on resistance of the series transistors. In previous slide I discussed about fan in is mainly depends on resistance of series transistors. So that is these are the series transistors. The on resistance of series transistors changes the limits the number of inputs which are applied to the logic family, that is fan in of CMOS. Here also fan out is mainly depends upon the characteristics of the gates input, characteristics of the gates output, and characteristics of the input that is driving. So that is మనం టోటల్గా అవుట్పుట్లో ఏ సర్క్యూట్ కనెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నాము. We connect a TTL, otherwise we connect a CMOS also. So టోటల్గా దాని అవుట్పుట్స్ అంటే మన సర్క్యూట్ యొక్క అవుట్పుట్స్ totally it acts as input for another circuit. So totally it is mentioned as characteristics of the inputs, that is driving. Driving means outside. So characteristics of the gates output. So totally by on these 2 parameters our CMOS output fan out is depending. So here we have DC fan out and AC fan out. What is called DC fan out? The number of inputs that an output can drive with the output in a constant state. So what is meant by DC? DC means constant state. That is, if our circuit is constant, that is stable at a high state or low state. So at that situation, how many number of inputs are driven? So is called DC fan out. అంటే టోటల్గా మన సర్క్యూట్ కాన్స్టెంట్ స్టేట్లో ఉన్నప్పుడు ఎన్ని నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్పుట్స్ మీన్స్ అదర్ సర్క్యూట్కి ఇన్పుట్స్ హ్యాండిల్ చేయగలదు, దాన్ని మనం డీసీ ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ కింద కన్సిడర్ చేస్తాం. నెక్స్ట్ ఏసీ అంటే ఆల్రెడీ మీకు తెలుసు, ఈ ఏసీ ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ వచ్చేసి మనము డైనమిక్ స్టేట్ ఎలక్ట్రికల్ బిహేవియర్లో స్టడీ చేస్తాము. బట్ ఇక్కడ నేను సింపుల్గా డెఫినేషన్ ఇచ్చాను. ద ఎబిలిటీ ఆఫ్ అన్ అవుట్పుట్ టు చార్జ్ ఆర్ డిశ్చార్జ్ ద స్ట్రే కెపాసిటెన్స్ అసోసియేటెడ్ విత్ ద ఇన్పుట్స్. So the ability of an output to charge or discharge the stray capacitance associated with the inputs that it drives. So మనం ఏ సర్క్యూట్కి అయితే కనెక్ట్ చేసామో ఆ సర్క్యూట్లో ఉన్న స్ట్రే కెపాసిటెన్స్ని అది ఎంతవరకు పర్ఫెక్ట్గా ఛార్జ్ చేయగలదు, డిశ్చార్జ్ చేయగలదు మన అవుట్పుట్, మన CMOS అవుట్పుట్. దాన్ని మనం ఏసీ ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ కింద కన్సిడర్ చేస్తాం. సో ప్రీవియస్ దానికి దీనికి డిఫరెన్స్ అబ్జర్వ్ చేయండి. సో డీసీ ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ మీన్స్ at the constant state, that is if our CMOS output is at the high state, then how many number of another circuit inputs are handled is considered as DC fan out. Suppose it is AC, then AC means what is the output circuit stray capacitance, ఎంతవరకు అది ఛార్జ్ చేయగలదు, ఎంతవరకు అది డిశ్చార్జ్ చేయగలదు, the ability of that output to charge or discharge the stray capacitance associated with the inputs that it drives is considered as AC fan out. Already I think madam. Sir, hello, any doubt? Hello students, any doubt? Sir, Ravi Kumar sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You have any doubt in this topic? Regarding to AC fan out and DC fan out, you have any doubt? What is meant by DC fan out? The number of inputs that an output can drive with the output is in a constant state, that is either high state or low state. What is AC fan out? Stray capacitance charge avvagalige ability ni. So the ability of an output to charge or discharge the stray capacitance associated with the inputs that it drives. What is meant by stray capacitance? Here our discussion is stopped. What is meant by stray capacitance? Stray capacitance is unwanted capacitance, that is parasitic capacitance. How it is formed? It is always formed between two electrodes. It is always formed between two electrodes. For example, if we consider one PCB. So in PCB we have different tracks to flow the current. So each track acts as one conductor. Each track acts as one conductor. So that is, if we have side by side of two tracks, then automatically some capacitance is formed between those two tracks. Since those two tracks acts as electrodes, those two tracks acts as electrodes. So that is, by acting those electrode effect, automatically some field is appeared between those two electrodes. So those two electrodes acts as some plates, and that field is act as dielectric medium. Then automatically some capacitance effect comes between those two electrodes. So but that capacitance is unwanted capacitance. We does not connect any capacitor in the circuit. We does not connect any capacitor in the circuit physically, but automatically there appears some capacitance between those two electrodes. You got this point? What is stray capacitance? Stray capacitance is a unwanted capacitance which is not formed in physical form. Physical form lo manam connect cheyakundane circuit lo ekkadaina sare electrodes form అయినప్పుడు వాటి మధ్యలో ఫామ్ అయ్యే capacitance ని unwanted capacitance ని మనము stray capacitance కింద కన్సిడర్ చేస్తాము. సో ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వచ్చేసి సపోజ్ మనం పీసీబీ తీసుకుంటే, ఇన్ పీసీబీ వీ హ్యావ్ డిఫరెంట్ ట్రాక్స్. సో టోటల్గా రెండు సైడ్ బై సైడ్ ట్రాక్స్ మనం కన్సిడర్ చేస్తే, ఆ రెండు ట్రాక్స్ మనకి టూ ఎలక్ట్రోడ్స్ లాగా యాక్ట్ అవుతాయి. ఆ ఎలక్ట్రోడ్స్ వలన సమ్ ఫీల్డ్ అనేది ఫామ్ అవుతుంది. సో దట్ ఫీల్డ్ ఈస్ కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ డైఎలక్ట్రిక్ మీడియం. దెన్ ఆటోమేటికలీ సమ్ కెపాసిటెన్స్ ఎఫెక్ట్ ఈస్ కమ్స్ అట్ దట్ పాయింట్. సో దట్ కెపాసిటెన్స్ ఈజ్ దట్ అన్వాంటెడ్ కెపాసిటెన్స్ ఈజ్ కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ stray capacitance. So total ga AC lo eppudu kuda AC behavior lo, that is dynamic means changing. So in that dynamic state behavior we observed always the stray capacitance effect. We observed always the stray capacitance effect. So that is in AC fan out. Here again we studied deeply in dynamic state electrical behavior in this topic. So totally here you just briefly understand the difference between AC fan out and DC fan out. In case of DC fan out, here our circuit output must be constant, that is either in high state or low state. So at that time, how many number of inputs are driven by the circuit is considered as fan out, DC fan out. I think you understand AC fan out and DC fan out. After that, how we calculate fan out. So in next slide, we discuss how we calculate fan out. So if we want to calculate fan out at the low state, if we want to calculate fan out at the low state, generally for CMOS we have a fan out of 20. How we got this 20? At the low state and high state we have a 20 fan out. So CMOS fan out is constant for 20. అంటే 20 వరకు మనం ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ని ఇవ్వగలము, అంటే అదర్ సర్క్యూట్ని మనం డ్రైవ్ చేయగలము 20 నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్పుట్స్ వరకు. So after that it is not possible in CMOS. How we got this 20? In low state also, high state also, we have some different formulas. Already you know 4 currents. What are the 4 currents? IOL maximum, IOH maximum, IIL and IIH. What is IIL and IIH? The input current entered at the low state is considered as IIL. Next, what is IIH? The input current entered at the high state is considered as IIH. After that, I explain about 2 currents. That is, after doing the analysis, I told you sink current and source current. That is IOL maximum and IOH maximum. So sink current always flows from supply to out of the load, and source current is always flows from through the load into the load. Already I discussed those 2 currents, so which are called IOL maximum and IOH maximum. So if we take the ratio between IIL to IOL maximum and IIH to IOH maximum, then we consider we got fan out. How we got fan out? If we take the ratio between IIL and IOL maximum, similarly at high state we consider high parameters, that is IIH and IOH. At low state, if we want to calculate low state, we consider low parameters, that is IIL and IOL maximum. By taking the ratio between these 2 parameters, we got a low state fan out. By taking the ratio between these 2 parameters, we got a high state fan out. So totally, already you know these values. I told you 1 microampere. Tables లో చూపించి నేను కరెంట్స్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసినప్పుడు వాల్యూస్ చెప్పాను. 1 microampere, అలానే 20 microamperes అవన్నీ కూడా. సో by substituting those values, we have a fan out of 20, both for low state and high state. This is the calculation for low state fan out and high state fan out. If they ask as characteristics, what is the characteristics of logic family? Then you simply write the definitions of fan in, fan out, power consumption, operating speed, all those parameters. But they ask directly in the what is the steady state behavior of CMOS. Then you deeply explain fan in and fan out with the help of diagrams. So with this, fan in and fan out topics are over. After that, how we destroy the CMOS device. Already you know how we destroy one device, one electronic device. In labs also you burn a number of transistors, number of diodes. So how it is possible? What is the term called? The self-destruction of transistor is called. Already in transistors you study about that parameter. The self-destruction of transistor is called thermal runaway. Similarly, our CMOS is also burns in some ways. Otherwise, if we want to destroy a CMOS device, how it is possible? With the help of 2 methods, we destroy a CMOS device. So one method is electrostatic discharge. CMOS devices are subjected to damage from electrostatic discharge. What is meant by electrostatic discharge? How we form? If a high opposite voltage is applied to one terminal, already you know CMOS construction, at the gate and between the channel we have some semiconductor material, that is a silicon dioxide. So at the input side we must have some capacitance. So you remember the CMOS construction? So at the input side, we have one gate terminal, gate and channel. Between gate and channel, we have some silicon dioxide material which acts as a insulating material. So that is at the input side, we have a capacitance effect like in transistors. Transistors also at the each junction, we have some capacitance effect. You already know that is between P and N. Similarly, if we consider PNP transistor, at the first P and N junction, we have some capacitance. Similarly, at the second side, that is N and P junctions also, we have some capacitance. Like in transistors, in the CMOS also, we have input capacitance between gate and channel. Why the capacitance effect is formed? The gate is act as one type of electrode and channel is act as one type of electrode. In between we place silicon dioxide which is acts as a dielectric medium. So totally at the input side we have some capacitance effect. Suppose if we apply high charge to the input side plate, suppose if we apply high charge to the input side plate, then automatically opposite plate, the higher charge is generated. So due to that effect, the CMOS is destroyed. So that effect is considered as electrostatic discharge. So electrostatic means we destroy that dielectric medium by applying a high voltage. By applying a high voltage. So that method is called electrostatic discharging. How, for example, if we consider first, you study the first point, you can destroy a CMOS device by simply walking across a carpet and then touch an input pin with your finger. సో టోటల్గా మనం ఏదైనా మెటీరియల్ మీద, ఒక సింథటిక్ మెటీరియల్ మీద కానీ కార్పెట్ మీద కానీ ఫాస్ట్గా వాక్ చేసుకొని వచ్చి మన ఫింగర్తో జస్ట్ దాన్ని సీమాస్ని ఇన్పుట్ సైడ్ టచ్ చేసినా సరే ఆటోమేటిక్గా హై వోల్టేజ్ జనరేట్ అయ్యి it can destroy. That effect is considered as electrostatic discharge. That effect is considered as electrostatic discharge. Next, second one. What is the another method to destroy the CMOS? The second method is latch-up method. The second method is latch-up method. How it possible with the help of latch-up we destroy the CMOS? What is latch-up? What is latch-up? An input voltage which is less than ground apply chesam anukunnamma. Actually our CMOS is always operated between 0 to 5. If we apply a input voltage as less than ground, that is if we apply a negative voltages or more than VCC. Suppose if our VCC is considered as 5 volts, if we apply a 10 volts, 15 volts. Just mute yourself. Suppose if we apply a less than ground, so that is 0 volts కాకుండా మనకి మైనస్ వోల్టేజెస్ అలా కాకుండా our VCC, if we consider our VCC as plus 5 volts, if we apply more voltage that is above plus 5 volts, then automatically our CMOS goes to destroy. Our CMOS goes to destroy. So that is latch up occur when CMOS inputs are నార్మల్ పవర్ సప్లై రైల్ కన్నా కూడా మనకి డీవియేషన్ ఉంటే ఆటోమేటిక్గా CMOS అనేది డిస్ట్రాయ్ అవుతుంది. In case of labs also you consider, if we apply higher voltages to the transistors, automatically they burn. If we take ICs also burn if we apply high voltages suddenly. So totally at the place of transistors you have a heat sinks to absorb the heat. to avoid the self-destruction of transistors. So that is one way, that is one precaution. We connect the heat sinks in the PCBs nearer to transistors to avoid the self-destruction of transistors. So if we want to destroy the CMOS, then we make these two methods. One method is electrostatic discharging, that is by applying a high voltage to the one terminal, automatically opposite charge is developed at the other side. That method is called electrostatic discharging. So second one is latch-up method. What is latch-up method? Our actual power supply rail is 0 to 5 volts. If we apply below 0 or otherwise above VCC, then the CMOS becomes automatically destroyed. The CMOS automatically becomes destroyed. That is a latch-up method. Otherwise, in latch-up we apply another circuit. Suppose at the input of CMOS we have another TTL circuit. Assume that circuits at the input of CMOS we apply another TTL circuit. Another TTL circuit, and we connect another power supply to that TTL circuit. If we connect another power supply to that TTL circuit, at that situation also our CMOS is destroyed. So totally, what is our CMOS power supply rail? Between 0 to 5 volts. But at the input we connect another TTL circuit which have another power supply at the with high voltages. At that time also our CMOS is destroyed. So totally these two circuits are become as a cascading circuits. Then automatically the voltage which is applied to the our CMOS becomes high. So at that situation also the CMOS is destroyed. So totally with the help of two conditions, that is with the help of ESD or otherwise latch-up, we can destroy the CMOS. Latch-up is formed in two ways. One way is our CMOS is connected to higher voltages or lower voltages. Another method of latch-up is by connecting cascading. That is our CMOS input is connected to another TTL. Then that TTL is connected to high voltages. Then in that situation is also CMOS is destroyed. So those are two methods. So the next topic is power consumption. So what is power consumption? Already I told in characteristics, the power consumed by that circuit to change from one state to another state is called power consumption. The power consumed by that circuit to change from one state to another state is called power consumption. In power consumption, we have two types of power consumptions, static power consumption and dynamic power consumption. So static power consumption means DC. So that is here we study steady state electrical behavior lo vache power consumption manam static power consumption antamu. అలానే డైనమిక్ స్టేట్ అంటే నెక్స్ట్ మనకి చదవబోయేది ఏసీ అనాలిసిస్, ఏసీలో వచ్చేది. అక్కడ పవర్ కన్జంప్షన్ని మనము డైనమిక్ పవర్ కన్జంప్షన్ అని అంటాం. స్టాటిక్ పవర్ కన్జంప్షన్ అంటే ఏంటి అసలు? వాట్ ఈస్ ద డెఫినేషన్ ఆఫ్ స్టాటిక్ పవర్ కన్జంప్షన్? ద పవర్ కన్జంప్షన్ ఆఫ్ ఏ స్టేబుల్ CMOS circuit is known as static power consumption. That is, if the CMOS circuit is in stable condition, that is either low state or high state, then it is automatically called, it is in DC state, that is a stable condition. So at that time, the power consumed by that circuit is mentioned as static power consumption. సో టోటల్గా మన సర్క్యూట్లో చేంజెస్ ఏమీ లేకుండా ఒక స్టాటిక్ పొజిషన్లో ఉన్నప్పుడు ద పవర్ కన్జ్యూమ్డ్ అట్ దట్ పొజిషన్ ఈజ్ కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ స్టాటిక్ పవర్ కన్జంప్షన్. ఆర్ యు గాట్ ఇట్? సో పవర్ కన్జంప్షన్ when the circuit's output is not changing. So you see the definition. Power consumption when the circuit's output is not changing. So in that situation, that is called static power consumption. So it is a simple definition. With this, complete the steady state behavior of CMOS. So that is, in steady state behavior, we study about different subtopics. What are the different subtopics? We study about voltage levels of CMOS. That is our first topic. So in voltage levels, we have 4 voltage levels: VIH, VOH, again in high state and low state. So therefore, VIH maximum, VIL maximum, VIL minimum. So totally we have 4 types of voltages, and already in numerical form also I told you the voltage levels. So after that, after the what is the topic we studied? DC noise margin. Who is Karthik? So after that we study the CMOS circuit behavior with a resistive load and a non-ideal inputs. After that, in today's class we observed fan in, fan out, and next power consumption, and after that how we destroy one CMOS device. We study how we destroy one CMOS device. So with this CMOS steady state electrical behavior is completed. After that we go to CMOS dynamic state electrical behavior. What is dynamic state behavior, dynamic state electrical behavior, and what is the difference? At the first classes I already told you definition. What is the steady state behavior and what is the dynamic state behavior? What is the another name for steady state behavior? Steady state behavior is also called DC analysis. Dynamic state behavior is also called AC analysis. Since why those are called steady state and dynamic? In steady state, we observe the circuit behavior with constant inputs and constant outputs. But whereas in dynamic state, we observe the circuit behavior with variation of input and output voltages. With variation of input and output voltages. So in CMOS dynamic electrical behavior, mainly we concentrate on transition time. In CMOS dynamic electrical behavior, mainly we concentrate on transition time and propagation delay time. Speed depends upon two characteristics. In CMOS dynamic electrical behavior, speed and power consumption of CMOS mainly depends on dynamic characteristics of the device. Speed mainly depends on two characteristics. One is transition time and another one is propagation delay time. So total ga మీరు DCలో ఎలా అయితే ఆ ఫ్యాన్ ఇన్ ఫ్యాన్ అవుట్ నెక్స్ట్ ఆ సర్క్యూట్ బిహేవియర్ విత్ రెసిస్టివ్ లోడ్ నాన్ ఐడియల్ ఇన్పుట్స్ మనం ఎలా అయితే స్టడీ చేసామో ఇక్కడ మనం డైనమిక్లోకి వచ్చేటప్పటికి మనం మెయిన్గా కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేసేది టూ పారామీటర్స్. వాట్ ఆర్ దోస్ టూ పారామీటర్స్? స్పీడ్ అండ్ పవర్ కన్జంప్షన్. సో స్పీడ్ మనకి క్యాలిక్యులేట్ చేయాలంటే వీ మస్ట్ నో టూ క్యారెక్టరిస్టిక్స్. One is transition time and another one is propagation delay time. One is transition time and another one is propagation delay time. First of all, we discuss about transition time. So what is transition time? The amount of time that the output of a logic circuit takes to change from one state to another state is called transition time. In PDC also you study this transition time. So what is transition time? The time to take to change from one state to another state. That is, so for example, if our CMOS circuit, CMOS inverter circuit present at a low state, the time to take from low state to high state is considered as transition time of that circuit. Transition time of that circuit. So transition time mainly depends upon rise time and fall time. So transition time mainly depends upon rise time and fall time. So what is the rise time of CMOS transistor and what is the fall time of CMOS transistor? So rise time is represented with the TR and fall time is represented with the TF. Rise time is represented with the TR and fall time is represented with the TF. So what is TR? Rise time. The time required to change from low to high. The time required to change from low to high is considered as rise time. Similarly, what is fall time? The time required to change from high to low is considered as fall time. So totally, in CMOS dynamic electrical behavior, we consider two main points. Those are speed and power consumption. Speed and power consumption of CMOS device. Speed mainly depends upon two characteristics, which is transition time and propagation delay time. First of all, we study about transition time. So in transition time, what is meant by transition time? What is the definition of transition time? The amount of time that the output of a logic circuit takes to change from one state to another state is called transition time. So totally transition time have two times, rise time and fall time. So what is rise time? Rise time is the time required to change from low state to high state is considered as rise time, which is represented with the TR. And what is fall time? The time required to change from high state to low state is considered as fall time, which is represented with the TF. So totally, the rise time and fall time mainly depends upon on transistor resistance. సో టోటల్గా ఈ టైమింగ్స్ రెండు కూడా దేని మీద డిపెండ్ అయ్యి ఉంటాయి అంటే, మనం సర్క్యూట్లో కనెక్ట్ చేసే ఆన్ ట్రాన్సిస్టర్స్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ మీద. ఆన్ ట్రాన్సిస్టర్స్ రెసిస్టెన్స్ అంటే ఎలా చెప్తున్నామమ్మా మనము? CMOS is always combination of PMOS and NMOS. If depending upon the input voltage applied, one transistor goes to off and another transistor goes to on. So totally the rise time and fall time mainly depends upon on transistor resistance. You observed this point. Rise time and fall time mainly depends upon on transistor resistance and the load capacitance. Load capacitance means the capacitance connected at the output side is considered as load capacitance. So depending upon these two parameters, the rise time and fall time of CMOS is depends. So after that, we deeply discuss about transition time and how we calculate this rise time and fall time. We have some derivations. After that, we discuss the propagation delay time. Then the topic is completed. So in CMOS dynamic electrical behavior, we have two timings, transition time and propagation delay time. With the help of transition time and propagation delay time, we calculate the speed of the circuit. So in dynamic means changing. Input and output levels are changes. Voltage levels are changes. So by depending upon the input and output voltage levels changes, we calculate two parameters. What are the two parameters? Speed and power consumption. To know the speed, we must know the timings. So what is the timing? What are the two timings? Transition time is one and another one is propagation delay time. So what is transition time? It is a combination of rise time and fall time. So already you know the definitions, rise time and fall time.